So now we're going to be on the A. So we'll start on the first one and just count out our intervals. So let's first just look at the octaves. So if I go up a string, where is the octave? Now, usually when I go up a string, I have to look for the inverse distance, but obviously there is no real inverse distance. If you think of it as a circle, we're going around in a circle of the 12-note circle. If it doesn't matter if I go one way around the circle or the other way around the circle, it's still the same distance, right? So for the octave, so it's going to be, I would call it like -5 and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 or 12. So if I count that up this way, I'm going to say from here to here, I would call it -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Wait a sec. From here, no, I'm on the wrong string. I'm up here. I was on the G string. What am I doing? I don't know. -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Boom, boom. So that should be not even an octave, but basically the same note. But I'm just going to think of it. I'm not going to really get into the octaves other than just to say we're finding the same notes on every string right now. And then we're going to look for the same intervals on every string as though we're thinking about a circle on the guitar as opposed to octaves. Okay, so that means that if I go up one string, the octave is always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets forward unless I cross the fault line. The only time I would cross the fault line is if I was on this B string, in which case I can see this A right here, for ejemplo, and then that would be going up to here. So now because this fault line, this tectonic plate pushed to the right, making the distance lesser. So, if I go down one string, the octave will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which only happens on the G string, in which case if I go down one string, the octave will only be 4 frets back. Next one. What happens if I go up 2 strings? If I go up 2 strings, then I'm looking for a 12-note distance. So it's going to be 5, -5, -10, -9, -11, -12. So this shape, let's count it out this way before I talk about it. -5, -10, 10, -11, -12. Now that shape from top to bottom, a lot of people learn that as kind of one of the first octave shapes they learn. But we would like to be able to see it, of course, if I'm pivoting around this A and moving up to that string as well. Okay, let's go down a string and see what happens. Let's see what happens. Try it out and see. Oh, wait a sec. Let me do my thing here. So if I go up 2 strings, then the octave is always going to be 2 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which could happen on the B or the E string. So let's say we have this A, for example, and we go up 2 strings, then because this whole tectonic plate shifted to the right, and now I'm leaning backwards, it's going to be a further distance. Therefore, if I go up 2 strings, the octave is always going to be 2 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which would happen if I start from the B or the E strings, the 2 bottom strings, in which case if I go up 2 strings, the octave is going to be 3 frets back. That's how it works, people. That's how it works. Okay, and then if I go down one string, what if I go down one string? I'm looking for a 12-note distance. It's going to be -5, or I'm just going to call it 5 here, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So it's kind of interesting. If you go up, then it's 5 frets this way. If I go down, it's 5 frets back. So let's count it out this way. So I'm going to say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Boom. Shock alaka. So if I go down one string, the octave is going to be 5 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen if I was on the G string. And if I was on the G string, what would happen? I'll tell you what would happen if I was on the G string. Then this whole tectonic plate would shift to the right, and it would make it a shorter distance. So if I go down one string, then the octave is going to be 5 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which is only going to happen on the G string, in which case if I go down one string, the octave is going to be 4 frets back in that instance. Let's do another one. Octaves, por favor. Down, that's another one, please. Gracias. Puedes tener otro. Thank you. May I have another? I'm gonna go. I don't know if that was right. That's what I feel like it. That's what I was going for, though. So now I'm gonna say this is gonna be a 12-note distance: 5, 10, 11, 12. Just count that out here. So we're gonna say 5 and then 10, 11, 12. Boom. Oh, wait a sec. 5, 10, 11, here. My finger's in the wrong. What in the world? There we go. What was wrong with my fingers? Fingers not working right. So that means if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, which is the fault line is right between these two because this tectonic plate shifted to the right, or maybe from the perspective of this tectonic plate, they're like, dude, we stayed still and this tectonic plate moved to the left. It's like we were not the one that did the moving. Just because we're the smaller plate, you just because you're the bigger plate doesn't mean that you can't move. I feel like you're the one that moved and I'm the one that's been sitting here the whole time. Just like the political landscape right now. It's like, I don't care what you're talking about. I've been sitting in the same spot the whole dang time and the tectonic plates have been moving all around. And it's like, what in the world is happening here? I'm just sitting here like anchored into my spot. I know what I'm talking about. Hasn't changed a bit. But all of a sudden these tectonic plates are moving all around. Anyway, guess it depends on your perspective. But that means if I go down 2 strings, then the octave is, and cross the fault line, the octave is 1, 2, 3 frets forward. What if I didn't cross the fault line, which would happen on either the E or the A string? Let's go to the A string, and if I go down 2 strings, then it's going to be here. Let's count that out. So let's just think about it. If I go down 2 strings, then the octave is going to be 2 fret forward, which is going to be one of the shapes I think people know the octave best in. But if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, then the octave is going to be 3 fret forward, because I'm still going to blame the smaller plate. I'm sorry. I feel like the small plate shifted to the right more than the big plate shifted to the left, although it could have happened the other way. That's just the way I'm going to visualize it, though. Hopefully that's not offensive or anything. And then let's go to the bottom string. So then it's going to be bottom string, 12-note distance for the octave. It's going to be 5, crossing the fault line 10, and then down to 15. 15 minus 12 is 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's count it out this way. So we're going to say 5, cross the fault line 10, 15. 15 minus 12 is 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. So then you can also do that by going up. So you might say, why don't I go up? It would be easier. Maybe you can see that shape. If I just see that shape, well, then I know it's going to be the same down here. If I can't see the shape, then I can count it out. And I don't need to look for the inverse distance because it's 12, whichever way we go around the circle. So 5, 10, 11, 12, same note down here. So if I go down 3 strings then and cross the fault line, the octave is going to be 2 frets back. What if I don't cross the fault line? That would happen if I was on the top string, for example. So if I'm on the top string, so the general rule, if I go down 3 strings and don't cross the fault line, then the octave is going to be 1, 2, 3 frets back. But that actually happens lesser amount of the time. If I go down 3 strings and do cross the fault line, which would happen on the E or the A, and I couldn't go down 3 strings if I went to the D, or if I went down to any of these, then if I go down 3 strings and do cross the fault line, the octave is only going to be 2 frets back.